Welcome to our topic number 3 on this module on project management, and the topic is project initiation. And we are saying the goal of this phase is to define the project, develop a business case for the project, and also get it approved. And the process of initiation constitutes we are saying constitutes activities that are aimed at defining the project. So we under project initiation, we focus on the activities that define the project. So we look at the objectives of the project initiation process. Number A is to define the purpose and expectations of the project. So that is objective number 1. So we want to understand the purpose or the objective of the project, or the end goal that we want to achieve. Then the other one is to define the project scope to ensure that the project covers all the required aspects and fully addresses them. So define the scope of the project, the extent into which the project is going to be executed. The other one is to define clear milestones and timelines for the project to ensure a smooth flow of events throughout the project. Another objective. So milestones are the points at which we expect maybe to do project evaluations. At what point do we check what we have been able to do? Those are critical milestones. For example, when somebody has a baby, there are various milestones that every parent is looking for. Maybe the crawling, the walking, the development of teeth, and so many other milestones. So a project is similar to the development of a child. It is a series and a sequence of steps. The other one is to devise the project deliverables that are in line with the goals and the client's expectations. Another objective of project initiation is to identify all the stakeholders that are to be directly or indirectly affected by the project. I have clarified what we mean by a stakeholder. The other one is to be able to come up with an enough budget. So at this stage, a budget estimation is made for running the project. And the other one is to establish the risks, issues, and interdependencies connected to the projects. So at this stage, we can also establish and identify the risks, and we are saying this would help the team prepare and plan beforehand to avert the risks and tackle any issues. Then during this time, the project manager may do the following. So during initiation, there are some of the activities that take place. Number 1 is the project feasibility studies. So the study identifies the project market, if applicable, the highlights of the project's key goals, maps out the potential roadblocks, and offers alternative solutions, and factors in time, budget, legal, and manpower requirements. So there's an important study that we do here, the feasibility study, and it is extensive. That's why we are introducing, you can see the key points of a feasibility study. We will assess the following areas. Number 1 is the technical capability. Does the organization have the technical resources to undertake the project? The other one is the budget. Does the organization have the financial resources to undertake the project? And is the cost-benefit analysis sufficient to warrant moving forward? So as we are doing feasibility study, these are some of the things or the questions that we ask ourselves. So key points is legality. Another issue that we check is the legality. What are the legal requirements of the project, and can the business meet them? Remember, anytime we are executing any projects, we need to have make sure that it is following the law. You have had issues around collapsing of buildings, and it is because people are not following the right procedures. They want to circumvent, and they want to cut the legal procedure so that they can do it in a shorter way or in a faster way. So in also on the feasibility study, we also look at the risks. What is the risk associated with undertaking this project? Is the risk worthwhile to the company based on perceived benefits? So we ask ourselves that. And then operational feasibilities, that the project in its proposed scope meet the organization's needs by solving problems or taking advantage of identified opportunities. And lastly is also in terms of feasibility study, we also look at time. Can the project be completed in a reasonable time? That one is very, very important also. We need to make sure that the project is completed on time. Remember our abbreviation on SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. Then so when we are conducting a feasibility study, there are some things that we do. Number one is the preliminary analysis. Organizations will conduct a preliminary analysis, which is like a pre-screening of the project. The preliminary analysis aims to uncover invisible obstacles that would render a feasibility study useless. If no major roadblocks are uncovered during this pre-screening or during this time, a more intensive feasibility study is done. Then number B is define the scope. It is important to outline the scope of the project so that you can determine the scope of the feasibility study. So the project scope will include the number and composition of both internal and external clients or customers, so we can be able to ask ourselves and answer such kind of a question. And also we are saying you should not forget to examine the potential impact of the project on all areas of the organization. Then conducting a feasibility study. So number C, we carry out now a market research, and we are saying no project is undertaken in a vacuum. Those conducting the feasibility study will delve into existing competitive landslide and determine whether there is a viable place for the project within the market. Viability, when we talk about a viable place, is if it is a business related project, for example, is it able to give us returns? That is what we mean by viability. The other one is a financial assessment. The feasibility study will examine the economic costs related to the project, including equipment or other resources, man hours, the proposed benefits of the project, the break-even schedule, the financial risks, and most importantly, the potential financial impact of the project failure. And finally is the roadblocks and alternative solutions. Should any potential problems surface during the study, we are saying it will look to solutions. So as we conduct our feasibility study, we also can be able to find out, as we continue with the project, what are some of the things that might arise and become roadblocks to the project. And then finally we do a reassessment of results. We have an holistic look of the feasibility study with fresh eyes, particularly if any significant amount of time has passed since it was first undertaken. So at some point we can reassess or review what we did on our feasibility study, and then we make the final decision now. So the final aspect of a feasibility study is the recommended course of action. In other words, so it is here whether we say if the project should be able to proceed or not. Then number 2, we create what we call a project charter, and we are saying a project charter is a formal, typical short document that describes your project in its entirety, including what the objectives of the project, how will it be carried out, and who are the stakeholders. So when we look at a project charter, we have a number of things that we can find in the charter. For example, reasons for the project, objectives, outcomes, and constraints of the project, the main stakeholder roles, responsibilities and involvement, risks identified, benefits of the project. So those are things, all those can be covered in the charter. And then the general overview of the budget. And the other one is the high level milestones. And finally is the funding authority. So who is sponsoring the project? Who is the financier? We also need to see it in the charter. It is important to be able to know. Milestones I've mentioned are the steps that we need to follow, or the points of assessment that we need to have within a project. For example, if we are doing a construction of a building, we can say milestone 1 would be maybe once we are through with the ground floor. If it is a course like this we are doing, at some point we will have assessment point 1. We can call that one a milestone, or a point in which we can be able to carry out some assessment. And then we have how do we create a project charter? Number one, we need to understand the project goals and objectives, identify the project vision and determine the scope. Also define the project organization. So in this step, you list all the essential roles of the project, including customers, stakeholders. So the project team can also be listed here. And then number C, we create an implementation plan, outline major milestones, dependencies, and the timeline for the entire team and stakeholders. And number D is list potential problem areas. And we are saying this isn't about a downer, and more instead about being realistic. So we also, as we identify potential problems, we need to be realistic on what we can solve, what issues we can be able to deal with. And then step number 3 is to identify key stakeholders. So stakeholders, I did mention who they are, those people that have an interest in the project. So some of these stakeholders are customers, we have the project manager, we have the project team. All these people are, we can call them direct stakeholders. The project sponsor, who is the financier, the steering committee, this is an advisory group providing guidance. And then we have executives, the top management in the company executing the project, those who direct the organization, they direct the organization strategy. And finally is the resource managers. All those are stakeholders. So we are saying it is important at this point, as we undertake the initiation phase, to identify the stakeholders, because they are crucial in ensuring whether the project succeeds or not. And then we have what we call the benefits of stakeholder engagement. Number one is communicating directly or education. So stakeholder engagement, we are saying when you communicate directly with stakeholders, it allows you to learn not only their perspective, but provide new insights on a product or issue to help you gain a competitive advantage. Then number 2, it ensures effective decision making. It also builds the level of trust when you involve your stakeholders, customers, the community around the project. It improves the level of trust because now they know what project is being executed around them. The other one is the cost of saving, and then so it saves on cost because we protect ourselves from legal cases or issues that might arise as the project is progressing. And the other one is risk management. Groups and individuals may help identify potential risks before they become threats to your projects. Then we have types of stakeholder engagement. There are some things that when we are doing stakeholder engagements we do. Number one is informing. So we inform them about the project. So they should know this project is in existence. And so this is a one-way communication where people would say the project team are learning details. So let them know about the project. So how do you do that? Report to funders, explaining to residents of the site operation plan how they will be affected, making completed project documentation. You can also do television and radio advertisement also as part of informing. And finally, you can also write newspaper articles regarding a project that is coming up. And then we have consulting. So this is a two-way discussion. So discuss with them, what do they think about the project, what do they think about the project outcomes, and what is it input they can bring into the project. And finally, participation. So some stakeholders will participate in the project work, community activities, visitors and other stakeholders can make direct contributions. So if they are able to participate, you can involve them in the participation aspect. Thank you so much. That is the end of our topic number 3. I hope you have been able to understand something on project initiation.